I go a lot by this book that I read. It's by, oh, the name will come back. But these two people used to, can I just say, they were working on the research department of the Church's Parapsychology Institute of Research in England. And they communicated by telepathy. And they agreed that whoever one died first would come back, would try to come back and say how it was. And so Frances Banks, she died first, and she did come back and said, I have been given permission to reach you and tell you how it is. I have been given permission. And so she recounted many stories as she developed in that other world. But it was a world, but far more beautiful than this one. No aches and pains, no sickness, and so on. But then there was also the shadows where people were until they could work themselves out. So that for me is what it is.
Progression. It's very well described in a book called Post-Mortem Journal, which was put into my hands by my mother when I was of age 17 or so. And I think I date my belief in the afterlife to reading that book. And I've read it 2 or 3 times since. And it's T. Lawrence, who is such a sensitive and kind man. And he has described in almost verbatim what Hyacinth just described to us.
Very good. Put the title and the author on the
Post-Mortem Journal,
Yeah.
T. Lawrence. Is there anybody wants it, put your email in the chat and I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Giles. So August 31st is today's meeting. And as usual, we start with a prayer. Do I have a volunteer for the prayer today? Yes or no? No? It's okay. I can do it. Let me. Can you hear the sound? Okay. So, as usual, we gather here this afternoon, Saturday afternoon, inviting our guides, our mentors, the mentors of this group, and the spirits of light. As we sense the spirits who gather with us right now to learn from this reality, from the loving teachings of the spirits, we thank the higher beings for this opportunity, and we ask them to guide us in our discussion, in our inspirations, in our understanding, so we make sure we not only will grasp that knowledge, but we'll also practice, we'll walk that knowledge and use it with wisdom to help ourselves, and most of all, to help others around us. Stay with us, dear friends. Bless us today, tomorrow, and always. And so be it.
So be it. So it is.
All right. So, okay, so you know, I was talking to Sonia Rinaldi, and she sent me some emails, some pictures actually, and I know she will be mad at me because I'm showing this today, but this is too cool to keep for myself. And I know she's preparing a review, and pretty soon she will publish this. But you know, when Sonia, when she does images, so what she does, she kind of she has this film or recording for, say, 3 minutes, 5 minutes video, and then she will look for something unusual frame by frame, right? So she had, this person is a friend of her, like a supporter, a Brazilian guy, and he was visiting her, and she was showing some of the new stuff that she was trying recently. São Paulo is very cold right now, so that's why you see her with a jacket and a robe and under a lot of layers and layers of, you know, something to keep her warm. But she noticed this. You can see that. So this is Sonia, this is her friend, and she noticed this, like circles around the guy, and then she didn't know what that was, or what it came from. But you can see that as he moves his head, is not exactly because of him, it's something in between. It's something like, it's maybe not even in this, evidently not in this dimension. But you see that from the previous, you see Sonia here, and now this one, there is something else, you know, kind of information, something is coming up around her. So it's already there, but it's like you can see this formation also around Sonia. And so you get, so this is him, this is Sonia, and you see that formation around his head is kind of the same around as in Sonia's, right? So she was talking to me and saying, I do not know what this is, but the only thing that comes to my mind, given some of the other discoveries, recent discoveries that she had, she was saying, maybe, she was saying, evidently there must be several explanations for this for now, but maybe this is like how do we say, wormholes or something? You know, when you do materialization, or in those seances, when you have some reports coming up, she said it would, and then she was saying, is it possible that we just captured, you know, some of those channels from where they connect one dimension to another one? Because evidently this was not physical. This was not in our dimension. You see? It's so interesting. And then soon after, she captured this image, like, evidently this is not Sonia. This is Sonia, so this is much older lady, and is a different face around her face. And but it was very curious to see what that is, and she's still wondering, okay, so what that could be. But she was very excited about it. And I don't know, but more discoveries, new things will come up, I'm pretty sure, in their research. Okay, so this is book number 2, Spirit World, chapter 1. We are still under chapter 1 of book number 2. And today, I'm sure we'll get to the perispirit topic. Maybe we'll touch the different orders of spirits. I do not know the time, but we might have a chance to get to that far. And last time we met, we talked about this question: do spirits have the gift of omnipresence? In other words, can a spirit divide itself or exist at several points in space at the same time? And then the answer was a spirit cannot be divided, but every spirit radiates in all directions like a sun, right? So that's how spirit may appear in several places at once. The sun is only one body, yet it radiates in all directions, and its rays of light travel great distances, but it is not divided. So the next question then, do all spirits have the same power of radiation? And last time we were talking about all those different classes of spirits, right? So yeah, the answer is very evident. This depends on the degree of their purity and varies greatly. So this is the order or classification of spirits that we were talking last time. And basically, we have 3 different orders and several classes. But we were discussing all those classes. They go by, the criteria is moral evolution, moral evolvement, right? So I'm going to put over here on the chat. I think I can do this. Yeah.
I would like to add something here.
Yeah,
It's
please.
it strikes me that this moral development is happening irrespective of any outside guidance. It's happening as evolution. I don't know if any of you kept up with the latest science, but the latest science shows that when the planet Earth was formed, there were 60 complex chemicals on it. Now, some years later, i.e. 4 billion years later, there are now 6,000 complex chemicals on it. And the scientific paper, peer-reviewed and carefully monitored, said that Darwin's story of evolution is just a narrow window of the evolution that's actually happening in everything all around us.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a most wonderful piece of information. And it shows that the development and evolution of moral behavior is happening without outside pushing. It's part of the fabric and the makeup or the fine-tuning of this universe, which is just wonderful.
Yeah, that's the creation. It's very dynamic and it will never stop. Gloria,
Yeah, so
please.
that's the reason I brought that up, is because you're giving a list here: pure spirits, good spirits, imperfect spirits. But this is all in motion. This is all, they're all developing, they're all evolving, they're all changing. So it's this, your chart is a snapshot of a given time.
And by no means, this is absolute. So because we have to, this is just a guidance, and how things evolve is, like I said, is a snapshot. And between, say, the 4th class and the 5th class, there is a huge variety of, different stages, if you will. Because it takes a long time for us to move from one step to another. So, Gloria, please.
On your previous slide, the word that caught my attention was the degree of their purity. And I thought, that's very interesting. You know how Kardec tried to get a lot of information from different sources in order to verify that it was consistent. The science of mind, the father of science of mind is a man named Ernest Holmes. And Ernest Holmes stated that the process whereby we work on ourselves to improve ourselves spiritually, he called that purification. And I thought, isn't that interesting that Kardec uses that word purity, and Ernest Holmes used that to describe how we work on ourselves. It's a purification process.
No, what
there's one that, Gloria, I have to point out, there's one thing that's it's semantics more than anything else. But if a human spirit requires purification, that means it was impure before.
No, it means that we're at choice and we're working on ourselves, and that's what,
yes, of course.
That's what I was about to say.
Where's the impurity? There's no impurity. It's just bad vision.
Impurity is not perfection. That's what it is. We aren't perfect.
Unperfect. Yes, that's what I was about to say. In the engineering world, what we say, so for example, if you pick a very complex compound and you want to just have one of them in the mixture of several things, what you do stratification, because you kind of remove things or chemicals, compounds that you don't want until you reach to the point that you have left what you want. So we call it stratification, but at the end of the day, that's what you're doing. You're taking the imperfect or the impurity, and we call impurity just because it's not exactly what you want.
And I think what he was referring to is the turning away from materialism to spiritualism.
Yeah.
In other words, we're born into this
detaching from this.
Yes, and turning away from that takes sometimes a lifetime, sometimes it happens right away, but he called that process purification, because we're working on ourselves to detach from the materialism and refocus on spirit.
Yeah.
And I love when he channeled, all his stuff is channeled. I mean, it's so obvious that he channeled his material.
Isn't that awesome? I love it.
Me too.
Anyway, so
can I say about Ernest Holmes?
Sorry. Yes.
No, about just as Gloria talked about Ernest Holmes. A relative of mine was a bishop in the church in Jamaica, and she led it. So was Ernest Holmes. So it's it has a very, very strong following of all professional people.
It's very good. Thank you. So I will not discuss much more about this because there is a video later on that will cover this. So let's go ahead and jump on the perispirit, because this is not new to us. We have seen this so many times. So I guess this is going to be a very quick overview on some concepts that we have seen in other meetings. So the first one is the spirit uncovered, or is it enveloped in a substance of some kind, as a postulate by some? And we have seen many, many times before that, yes, so there is an envelope in vaporous substance as you perceive it. Although from the spiritual standpoint, that is considered too heavy and cumbersome. It is sufficiently vaporous to allow a spirit to float the atmosphere and travel through space as it so desires. And so nothing really new to us. We have seen this many times. But I'm just doing a quick overview because later on it's going to help us on further discussions. From where does the spirit draw its semi-material envelope? And as we have seen from universal fluid of each world. So if we are in Mars, it's going to be the fluid around Mars, Venus, the fluid around Venus, another galaxy, whatever. For this reason, the perispirit is not the same in every world. When traveling from one world to another, the spirit changes its envelope as you change your clothing. So when Kardec is saying traveling here, he's saying not us living here visiting another world, is us living here, and then the next incarnation, then if we are supposed to incarnate in Venus, then we'll be using a different material for our perispirit in Venus. But evidently, if we live here and we need to visit another place, then it's going to be our mental body, our consciousness, not us. Sorry, Heising?
Yes, I mean, the physical body as we see it belongs to this world.
This world, yes, as well as the perispirit.
I mean, and if you see the photos of aliens, they are different.
Yeah.
And so I think that for each planet. Oh, what I was going to say before, I have recently been saying to scientists, and these are doctor research scientists, when they talk about the Big Bang and what was at the Big Bang before, I had to say, I cannot accept it. Nobody was there. How do you date it? How do you say what was there 100 billion years ago? Nobody can know what there was. They know what it has been as far as they can measure it and what they're measuring now. But I will not accept that a scientist can tell me how it was before the Big Bang.
Yeah, nobody really knows. And we just have hypotheses and,
Exactly. It's a
been
theory.
keeping up with my astronomical studies, and I think I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I don't think there's anything but speculation about what happened before the Big Bang. There's no doubt that the Big Bang happened, and that is just stunningly amazing because the constants are fine-tuned. There's a 64 billion trillion to 1 against the constants being just the way they are. That's one of the estimates that I've seen.
Yes.
That's what astronomers call vanishingly remote possibility. So what it means is this is proof of divine guidance, to use a simple expression.
Yep.
Yes. No, but really, I'm sorry.
Not divine interference, divine guidance to start with, and then hands off.
It's still, I mean, the Big Bang, what created it and what was before, I just don't accept it. Even though, the top class people
Well, that's
say,
all right. That's, next incarnation, you'll be brought up in a slightly different background, and
nobody will be talking about the Big Bang.
Something else.
Okie dokie up, and we got a flat Earth too. Oh, by the way, where is our reptiles underground person? No, sorry, oops.
So as we continue, so when the spirits of higher worlds visit us, do they adopt a more material perispirit? So this is a higher being visiting.
Well, I imagine that if they are visiting us, they have to somehow adapt their bodies to this
Yes.
material world, our material world.
To this dimension, right?
Yes, you're quite
exactly.
right, Hyacinth. The travel in dreams, lucid dreaming is quite clear on this subject. You can go anywhere you want to, and the locals will not see you. Unless, of course, you go to a slightly higher dimension when they will all turn around and say, "What are you doing here?"
Yes.
No, they say, "Welcome, my dear."
Well, of course.
Nice to
Yes.
see you.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes.
So yes, they must clothe themselves with your matter in order to be able to enter your world, as we already said.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes when they say to enter our world, meaning reincarnation, right? So they have to incarnate to be here. Perispirit, does the semi-material envelope of the spirit assume specific forms, and can it ever become perceptible to us? And that is very logical, and we have seen many times, yes, it can assume any form that the spirit may choose, right? This is how a spirit is sometimes able to make itself visible to you, whether in dreams or when awake, and can assume a form that may be visible and even tangible. Like we experience, some of us experienced in some materialization seances, is very tangible. And when they say whether in dreams or when awake, meaning we don't see actually with these eyes, right? So it's something else. Like sometimes you can describe someone that was in your back, was but how come how come you can tell who that person was, or how that person, the appearance of that person, because we don't actually see with these eyes, right? And okay, so this is a different topic now.
So can I just say
orders.
something, Anna?
Yes, please.
There was a friend here. She's died now. She was 102 when she died. And she said to me one day, "I can only tell you this. I can't tell my family. They will think I'm crazy. But I went into this study last week, which was some time ago, and her husband was sitting at his desk. And I said, yes, he was sitting at his desk. And you should be glad that he made you see him." Because so this is it. We don't always see, but she saw him. And I said, yes. So, she was very comforted that she wasn't losing her mind.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I did not know if you were in this meeting when I mentioned I was away from my house. I was on a trip, and then when I came back, somehow I noticed something was different, was not the same. So I saw a different car in front of my neighbor's house, and I knew something was different. So as I was allowing my dog, I was opening the back door for my dog to leave to the backyard and, have some time off outside of the house. I saw this man walking in my house. Like I was looking here, my dogs, and right here, I saw this guy walking in the living room. And to me, it was so like normal. I was not shocked that, you know, it was 9 p.m. I was supposed to be home alone in my house, but I saw this man, you know, tall, was very, you know, like elegant, a black guy walking in my house. And I was like, interesting. And then you know, like few seconds, what? Wait a minute. I am supposed to be by myself here. Who's this guy? And evidently the guy was gone. On that minute, from that minute, I knew my neighbor's mother, she passed away. And that was her husband telling me. So immediately I closed the back door of my house. I went to my room, and then I said a prayer specifically for that lady. So a few weeks later, I met with a neighbor, and then she told me, oh, do you know my mother, she passed away that day, so and so. So when it happens for a reason. It's not because just to entertain us. And do not doubt, even because most of the time when you see those things, doesn't last for too long. Like yesterday, I was putting some water for my dogs, and I saw another dog playing in my kitchen with the other ones. It was a different dog. It was not even the same color of my other dogs. Why not? So we live in the middle of them. It's not the opposite. They do not visit us, but we are living, you know, we are all together, mixed. So different orders of spirits. And the question is, are all spirits equal, or is there a spirit hierarchy? And we saw, yes, we are not all the same. There are a variety degrees according to the level of purification that they have attained. Like Gloria was saying, from a different source. I love this. Consistency. And the next one is there a set number of orders or degrees of purification among the spirits? And that's what Kardec came up with, that scale. But like we said and discussed, it's just an attempt to explain to us how things happen, but by no means it means that you know, he was telling the truth. And it is exactly like that, because the number is unlimited, because there is no marked line between the different degrees of elevation. And I love this. As there are no fixed or arbitrary divisions among spirits, there may be a greater or lesser number of orders, depending on the point of view from which they are contemplated. If we consider the general characteristics of spirits, we may reduce them to 3 principal orders. The highest rank is held by those who have reached perfection. These are the pure spirits. In the second rank, we have those who have reached the middle of the ladder. These spirits are mainly concerned with doing good. The third or lowest rank comprises those who are towards the bottom of the scale, the imperfect spirits. They are characterized by ignorance, a penchant, I do not know how to say this, for malevolence, and all the low passions that hinder their progress.
The word is penchant, and that's where that's where the politicians.
Oh, is it penchant? That's a new to me. Living and learning.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That was it. Sorry.
I might add
Yes,
at this
because
point,
now we are in evolution
And
progress.
I
so
love
that's
that
okay.
it's using
I would-
purification again, and I like this one better than the other one. The other one where it's got those delineations, to me that's too much. I like this. In general, it's three. It's highest, middle, lowest. I like that. This works for me because there's no one going to remember those other 8. Is it? Was it
And
8?
in like 8 or 10.
Yeah.
And in between, there is like a multitude of
Sure. But in order for me to, what do I want to say, grasp this concept, I'll start with 3.
simple. I like the simple. Yes. And that's the video. Let me see, what time is it? That's the video. Okay, so I can show this because this is the video, guy. This is a very nice video. It is available for us. It is in English, very good English. It's done by Brazilian folks, but they have, a nice pronunciation. And it is available on YouTube. You can search for United States Spirits Federation and then Initiation into Spiritism. It's free, no charge. And I will play just the part that is kind of let's see. That is the 2751. Let me see if I can. 2751. Hang on. Because he explains very well. Yeah.
What he did. He created
Is that
a
too
spiritist scale,
low or is
which
okay?
is based on the development degree.
Louder.
Take it a bit higher.
We're gonna have, we saw in the beginning, we have
Thank
different
you.
levels of intelligence. Some spirits are less advanced, some are a little bit more, some are really more advanced. So that is used to categorize the spirits based on moral evolvement. So Allan Kardec produces a scale, 10 categories. And you see here on the screen the names of these categories: impure, frivolous, false scholars, neutral, disruptive, benevolent, scholarly, wise, high order, and pure. And he goes a little further. What he says is, we are gonna group these 10 categories. So he creates what he calls orders. So third order spirits, okay, group the 5 less evolved categories, and he calls imperfect spirits. Then the next 4 that you see in green here, he calls the second order, or good spirits. And there's a first order with just 1 category, pure spirits. Those are the ones who achieve perfection. So when we look at this, the first question is, oh, what's the difference between a third order spirit and a second order spirit? Well, let's look at that. Third order spirits, the ones in red here. First thing that we need to understand, there's predominance of matter over spirit. So they're still very connected to anything material. Right? Anything material matters more than anything spiritual. It's very hard for these spirits to devote time for spirit development. They are usually not doing this, very little. Most of what they do is concentrate on material things. There's a tremendous propensity to do evil things on that order. That order is dominated by pride, selfishness, ignorance, ensuing passions, all of those things, and very little knowledge and interest on spiritual matters. Most of the interest on that order is material. So those are the third order spirits. Second order spirits, or good spirits. Contrary to the third order, in which matter dominates over spirit, here on the second order, there's predominance of the spirit over matter. So spiritual things are much more important than material things. So there's a tremendous emphasis on spiritual matters. Will to do good, contrary to the third order here, which is propensity to do evil things. On second order spirits, good spirits, will to do good. That's their motto. Let's do good. Correct understanding of God and infinity, meaning correct understanding and interest on spiritual things, right? No bad passions, but still subject to trials. So no bad passions, and bad passions are something really common on third order spirits. On good spirits, second order, there is no such a thing. They are much more elevated morally. They will not be involved in bad passions or anything like this. So we go from impure all the way on the left, which is the less advanced category, all the way to the right to the pure spirits, which are the more advanced ones. And we spoke about influence of matter and spirit. How does it work? Well, think about this, for example. On the far left, the impure spirits, first of all, if those spirits are incarnated, of course, there's a spirit in there, and there's a physical body, living a material life mostly, as we saw. So for those on the very left, the influence they suffer from the spirit on their life is minimum. Most of the influence, almost 100%, is based on material things. As we go along, advancing to the right side of the screen towards the second order, it starts to change. The influence of matter declines and the influence of the spirit increases until you get to the far right, which is at the very far right of the second order spirits, good spirits, in which predominance of spirit is almost 100% and very, very, very little influence of matter. When they reach the boundary here for the second order spirits, they no longer have to incarnate. They become pure spirits, and I mentioned that before. They will only incarnate if they think it's worth it as a mission, if they want to take a mission. But that's how we can kind of understand the influence of matter and spirit. So far left spirits, influence of matter is tremendous. Far right spirits, influence of spirit is much higher.
I will stop here. The video continues on explaining the spirits, but I just want, if you want, I can put some the link or information for this video so you can see it later. It's very interesting. But when I was reading this first time, reading the book, and I was thinking to myself, okay, so why is that important that I know exactly which category so-and-so belongs to or whatever? And then I was thinking, well, like, if I am in this group of friends, I do not know them, I just met them. It is very important for me to know what their interest is. Like, if I know Hyacinth is not interested in aliens, why should I engage her in a topic, in a conversation, if she's not, this is not her main topic, she's not interested. Or if I know you guys are not interested in math or engineering, why should I be talking to you about all those topics? They might be important to me, but not to you. So we must find something in common, right? So we reach some point as a group. And then finally, I understood why it's important for us to understand what they're explaining here, because when you do those mediumistic meetings, and then you have messages from, spirits coming from all over, you want to know more or less what is the nature, or what is the drive force for this or that spirit. So if you are there to help that spirit, then you know what to do. Or if the spirit is trying to manipulate you for whatever reason, then you understand from where that spirit is coming from, so you can put a strategy together and try to not only be deceived, but also, if possible, help that person. Hey guys, what you're doing is not really a nice thing, but hey, it is, you have options in but I understood that when I became more aware of the mediumistic meetings and what exactly they do in those mediumistic meetings and their objectives. But later on in this video, he is talking about, I think it's the minute 37. Let me put over here, 37. 37. Okay, there you go.
Now, these spirits, whatever they are in the scale, wherever they are, pure in the middle of the scale, towards the right side of the scale, they have to live somewhere. They have to carry over their lives. So they need places. They need places to, material places. They interact with matter, right? So they need worlds to carry on their purpose in life. So there is also a category of worlds. The spiritual scale that we're going to put it here so we don't lose sight of it is defined by morality, moral advancement. The categories of worlds is based on the evolutionary level of their inhabitants. So, for example, impure spirits and frivolous, for example, left side of the scale, they have to live in a world that is kind of common ground for them. So we're not going to have a world with half being impure and half being, let's say, wise. No, that's not going to happen. We will have good spirits living in worlds for imperfect spirits here and there in very small quantities. However, the categories of worlds is based on the evolutionary level of their inhabitants, and there are 5 categories. As you see here, primitive, trials and atonements, regenerative, happy or joyful, heavenly, and divine. So, for example, impure, frivolous spirits, they're not going to be able to live on heavenly and divine worlds. They have to live under primitive worlds. Most of us here on earth, we belong to 3rd order imperfect spirits. And the earth is one of the worlds. It's categorized right now as trials and atonements. So the world that we live in is a world of trials and atonements, which is still adequate for 3rd order spirits. Let's take a quick look of these worlds and some of the characteristics. Primitive worlds are for first incarnations. Those are spirits that are kind of, if you will, brand new. They just individualized from the intelligent principle. They will go to primitive worlds. Trials and atonements, like I said, that's where we are. Evil prevails due to their ignorance. We just saw that what makes a third order spirits, that's exactly what it is. So we need to go through all these trials and expiations in a world like ours. The next one is regenerative worlds. There is still trials, but no expiations. Expiations is something that we need to offset because of wrongdoings of the past. That does not happen on these worlds, but there are still trials. We still have to be tried. We still have to be tested for some things. The next world is happy or joyful. So here, good prevails. There is nothing bad. This is for good spirits. This is adequate for second order spirits. So good prevails. It's for highly evolved spirits. And for pure spirits, we have the heavenly and or divine worlds. These worlds house pure spirits. So there's a lot of information.
You're muted, Anna. You're muted, Anna.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I was talking to myself. So that's pretty much what I would like to show from this video. But I can, like I said, I can send you the link for this video because it has way more information on it. But basically, he's describing this classification and why and how we can associate those classes with the world categories, all the different world categories. Just as a reminder, we are in the middle of this transition between trial and atonement to regeneration, meaning despite of all the things that we see out there, there is a huge will of the humankind to move on to the next stage, right? To do more good than bad. Although we do recognize, oh my gosh, horrible, horrible things still happen among us. So I will stop over here because I believe, no, yeah. Okay, so what time this is? 4:09. Yeah, I will stop over here. So next time we continue. But that's what I would like to share today. And let me see if I can get the link to that video and put it on the chat for you.
Anna,
guys.
in the Midwest, what we'd say is today was the meat and potatoes.
What is that?
I said, in the Midwest, what we would call today was the meat and potatoes. We've been waiting. This was the main course.
Oh,
You got that. You got that right, Gloria.
Today we got the meat and potatoes. I'm so glad I didn't miss it.
Yeah, today is the meat and potatoes. Exactly. Yeah, this is so important to all of us. Let me see. Let me mute myself over here.
What's the saying in Portuguese when you get to the main part? What's the Portuguese saying? I mean, the Brazilian.
I don't. I'll have to chat with Vladimir. Vladimir, quando nós chegamos no que realmente importa, ela estava dizendo que em inglês a gente diz assim, nós chegamos na carne, na batata. O que a gente fala no português, assim?
A gente usa, chegamos no X da questão.
Yes. So he says we got to the X of the question.
X marks the spot?
Yeah, exactly.
We got to the what? We got to the what?
X marks the spot. On a map, you put an X at the spot where you want.
That's the expression that we most use it. Yeah, Vlad is right. Yeah. The meat and potatoes. I love it. Yeah. So let me see. I should have that link ready right now for us. Let me check. Leave the insert. Let me see what that is. Mhm. I might lesson number 3, spirits class. Yeah, there it is. Let me grab that link. Copy and paste right there. So yeah, you have it. It's very interesting. I do recommend you all to watch it. Very fluid type of material. Most of it you have seen because we are studying this book. And then if we watch it, we can continue from there next week. Okay.
Don't close yet. I'm writing it off.
Oh, I can send you
Save the chat, Hyacinth.
I can send you on the WhatsApp.
Yes, you're right. Good.
Yeah, I can send you using the WhatsApp.
Beautiful, yeah.
All right, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, wonderful Labor Day, and I will see you next Saturday.
Thank you for
Okay,
the
right.
meat and potatoes.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Esses beijos.